Alright guys, welcome to another beer review, another special beer review, and yeah, unfortunately once again the beer is opened. I've done my initial tastings, I give my initial thoughts and opinions, but my video was going on for 16 minutes, and ain't nobody got time for me talking 16 minutes about a beer. And again, it's a damn shame that I didn't get this nailed in the first shot, because this is a truly remarkable beer indeed. That beer is, of course, Stone and their Arrogant Bastard Ale, of course, Stone Berlin. And yeah, just like the IPA, from what I can gather, they've not altered the recipe for the European market. It's still the same beer that it is, and the same beer that you all know and love. But they're over here in Berlin now. They've got good access to the European market now. You can, in the future, you'll be able to get stone beers a lot fresher and hopefully a lot cheaper than you can right now. And yeah, heard plenty of good things about this one. But on the flip side, I also heard plenty of bad things about it. It seems like this is the definition of a Marmite beer. There's really no middle ground from what I've seen on opinions and stuff. That being said, I haven't really invested too much time researching this beer because I wanted to go into this one blind. I wanted to be surprised by it. And apologies for my language, but I fucking was. Seriously. I can see now why this beer is so highly regarded. So let me pour a little bit more into the glass so I can show you what it looks like. Didn't want to generate too much head. But when it did have head, it was about one finger's worth of a tan-coloured head. And yeah, it dissipated quite quickly. So, beer in the glass, and that's it's not a really dark brown. I was expecting it to be a little bit darker than that. But when you hold it up directly into the light, you get a really nice ruby hue in there. But it's almost like maybe a light oak sort of colour, with some red tinges in there. Kind of reminds me of cranberry juice in some respects when you look at it in the light. But yeah, gorgeous looking beer, really is. Don't know if you can really see that, but not too much carbonation. Really nice, slow and steady. This was in the fridge, but I'd lifted it out about an hour or so ago because I didn't want to drink it like chilled or ice cold, because I know for a beer like this you're probably going to get rid of a lot of the flavour and a lot of the characteristics. And I think to do that to a beer like this, you can tell that I love this beer already, can't you? That would be a damn shame. So it looks really good. Nice rich looking beer. Let's see what it smells like. It's a really good beer on the aroma. You get so many different aspects the more you smell it. The initial thing that I get is a really strong, dense, sort of berry sort of aroma. Maybe something like sultanas, that sort of thing. Currants. Stuff that aren't really too sugary sweet when you bite them. It's got maybe a little bit of tartness there, like maybe a grape, almost. But yeah, like, I don't know, I'm getting like images of brambles, like a bramble bush in there as well. But then you get a big hit of a really nice caramel sort of aroma, and the sort of caramel, you kind of get a little bit of like one of those like caramel milk sweets that break your teeth when you eat them because they get just stuck to your teeth. Not really like a Werther's Original sort of caramel butterscotch flavour, but more like a dense, almost maybe caramel, you're making your own caramel, that sort of vibe. There's a nice malt character there as well, slightly sweet. Maybe a bit of toffee as well. like a chocolate covered toffee sweet. But there's also a very slight smokiness and woodiness there. Almost as if the beer had been aged in maybe like a spiced rum barrel. You do get that slight booziness that you would get from a high quality spiced rum. It's just a really strong smelling beer. It's a really dense smelling beer. And full of character, full of body already on the aroma, very robust. You go in there again and you might pick up a little bit of coffee as well, not too much. You can definitely pick up that bittering hop. From what I can gather, is that a Chinook hop that they've used? I know there's been a lot of speculation with homebrewers about the Arrogant Bastard Ale. So, and I'm not sure if at this point the recipe is more well known. But yeah, getting like dessert liqueurs in there. It's a beer that I could smell all day long and get something new every time I sniff it. You can see now why the video was initially like 16 minutes long. Anyway, the most important aspect of a good beer is what does it taste like? Let's find out. Cheers. That slight sweetness that you pick up on the aroma, that's completely gone. The bitterness is key to this beer, that hop bitterness, a really powerful bitterness as well. For some palates it could be maybe a little bit overwhelming, and my palate is still, you know, nowhere near close to as developed as I'd like it to be. But if I was to try this when I was first tasting and reviewing beers, I'd probably find that way too overwhelming for me. But now it just works so beautifully within the context of all those other flavours and characteristics. It's just as robust in the taste as it is on the aroma. It's got almost like a resiny sort of mouthfeel to it. Maybe, would velvety be the right word? I'm drinking this way too fast because it's such a gorgeous little beer. It really is. Clocking in at 7.2%. And there's like maybe an element of booziness there. But I think what I'm picking up is more of the hop bitterness. Because it is a really bitter beer. On that same note, I'm almost getting like maybe a Christmas cake that's been doused in currants and brandy, and it's been aged for like half a year, and it's really sucking up those really rich notes. It's got like that rich cakey vibe, maybe a little bit of dessert liqueur in there as well. I'm picking up that spiced rum that I was picking up in the aroma. And it's a really flavourful beer, a really powerful beer, a really robust beer. And I can see now why this beer is so highly regarded within the craft drinking community. I'm almost getting like a bitter fruit juice as well. As if you've just like squished a big load of like cherries, raspberries, black currants, blackberries, that sort of thing. Maybe some dried sultanas in there. Of course, sultanas are dried anyway, aren't they? Dried cranberries as well. I'm really getting like a cranberry vibe from this one. And like I was saying, I'm almost getting like an oaky, woody characteristic as well. There's just so much going on in this beer. And you'd have to do like a full in-depth analysis with other people to get to the bottom of it. It's one of those beers that you can't just casually sit there and drink. It's one of those beers that every mouthful you're going to savour, you're going to enjoy, you're going to pick up something that you didn't pick up 2 mouthfuls ago. It's just a really, really wonderful beer indeed, and I'm so glad that I have been able to try it. It's a beer that I would happily buy again, and as you can hear, the cat's just having a shit as I'm recording this. But yeah, I wish I'd have taken a lot more time with this beer now, because I've got only half a glass left out of a 500ml can. This is going to see me through the rest of the evening. I don't need to drink anything else. I'm going to enjoy this with my pork fillet with roast potatoes. It's going to complement meals like that really nicely, like nice beefy, like rich gravy, stewy sort of stuff. But on the same hand, or on the other hand, I should say, it's so flavourful and robust in its own right. You don't need to accompany it with food. And even though we're at the start of summer and it's towards the end of June now, I'm happily going to enjoy this one, even though it's not really a summery drink. But at the end of the day, a good beer is a good beer no matter what time of the year. A good beer is a good beer no matter how developed your palate is. A good beer is a good beer no matter how long you've been reviewing beers, that sort of thing. A good beer is just a good beer. And at the end of the day, this is a really special beer indeed. And yeah, God knows what the other variations on the Arrogant Bastard Ale are like. If that's anything to go by, what they do with that beer alone is just magical, really. It really is. I mean, I've seen like a jalapeno variation of it. I've seen a double bastard. I've seen like an oak-aged, like barrel-aged version of it. I need to try those beers as soon as possible, because this is special as it is. A wonderful beer. Can't fault it at all. And I don't know, if my palate was more developed, I'd be able to give you a lot more information, a lot more opinions, and I think I'd probably enjoy it a hell of a lot more than I am doing now. And I'm loving this beer. It's a fantastic beer. I can't believe it's took me so long to be able to sample Stone's Arrogant Bastard Ale. I won't lie, I was a little bit worried going into it, because I thought, what if I really don't like this beer? What if it's just too much for me? But it's ticking all the boxes for me for like an American strong ale. And you know, you can talk about the importance and the relevance and the influence of Stone to the rest of craft beer. I was watching Rob Hopzin's video on this one, and he was talking about, up until like Stone coming out, the German craft market was, you know, nothing really to shout about. And yeah, it's just great to see that after, is it 20 years? They're going from strength to strength. They're now situated here in Europe, so you know, they can reap the benefits of it. Us drinkers here in Europe can reap the benefits of it. Gone are the days where we pick up a bottle from our local bottle shop and it's like half a year since the original bottling and canning. This would be terrific to age for like 6 months at least. Yeah, I might have to do that, even though I don't have the patience to age beers, because I just want to drink them as soon as I get them. But yeah, I wanted to review this as soon as I could, because yeah, I wanted to get the video up. Anyway, waffling on, nearly at the 16-minute mark again. A big thank you to Nadina for allowing this to happen. A big thank you to Stone in general for sending me these 2 wonderful beers. If you've tried this beer, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Check out Stone Brewing Company and Stone Berlin down below. I will put obviously more reference materials. The cat's telling me to shut up. I'll put a lot more reference materials down below. Hit me in the comments, what's your favourite Stone beer? Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, subscribe for more beer reviews. Speaking of which, I hope you'll join me for the next one. Thank you guys, and I shall hopefully see you later.